But before we get to Ukraine itself, we've had Ukraine in Britain. So this is the Ukraine Defence Minister visiting, and of course our Defence Minister, well, no tongues, I hope. But anyway, this visit, they say, comes during a milestone moment. So they signed a bunch of paperwork. This is a milestone moment in international support for Ukraine, with 8 countries from across the world having now joined the UK to provide more than £1 billion to the International Fund for Ukraine, in a significant show of unity from Ukraine's allies. So that should make us all feel excellent. It comes after the Prime Minister, they say, announced the IFU's largest ever support package at the NATO summit in July, with £300 million contract to supply 152mm artillery shells. That contract's now been signed as of yesterday. So there we go. That's all going on. But in the meantime, things in Ukraine itself seem to be falling apart somewhat. So a whole bunch of resignations. This is Dmytro Kuleba, who's was the foreign minister. He resigned today. This is what is being described as the highest profile casualty so far in this a whole bunch of resignations, as we'll see in a second. This is happening at the time of a reshuffle. So apparently the people that are leaving are going to leave today, and the new people are going to be announced tomorrow. Well, various letters have been doing the rounds now. It's very quaint, perhaps, that people are resigning in handwritten letters, because that doesn't seem to happen these days. Now, this is being pushed around social media as being Kuleba's resignation, but in fact it isn't. This was the Deputy Prime Minister for reintegration of the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine. She sent this particular letter. But if we look at the list so far, we've got Dmytro Kuleba, we've got the Minister of Justice, we've got the Minister for Strategic Industries, we've got the Minister for Environmental Protection and Natural Resources, the Deputy Prime Minister for European and Euro-Atlantic Integration, and the Deputy Prime Minister that we just mentioned for reintegration of uncontrolled territories, and also the Deputy Head of Zelenskyy's office have all resigned so far, and I'm sure that list is going to continue. Massive changes happening within the Ukrainian government, and many people now suggesting that this is the rats leaving the sinking ship. And I think everybody at the UK column will probably agree with that sentiment. In the meantime, over the border in Poland, the Polish Foreign Minister Radek Sikorski has been speaking to the Financial Times. In this article, Poland has a duty to shoot down Russian missiles over Ukraine, says Minister. So we're not going to worry about the border there. If there are any Russian missiles in Ukrainian airspace across the border, Poland is certainly aiming to get permission to go ahead and shoot those down in what would be a pretty significant escalation, no doubt. Then, in the meantime, in Romania, they have decided that or at least the Romanian government has decided that they are going to approve a donation of a Patriot missile system to Ukraine. This is currently subject to ratification through the Romanian Parliament, and that's happening today, apparently. So we shall see what happens there. But in the meantime, other great news from the UK itself, because we have made a digital trade agreement. This is fantastic. So they've been pushing out some information about what we need to know. So let's just have a look at what they're saying here. The agreement opens the door to wider shifts in digital trading systems, which is more important than ever for Ukraine at a time when its physical systems have been impacted by war. It will allow consumers and businesses in both nations to benefit from open and inclusive digital markets. What does that mean?
I couldn't quite tell you, I don't think.
No, so the digital content is not subject to customs duties. Cheaper and quicker trade through promoting digital trading systems, including electronic contracts and digital authentication, online consumer protection and intellectual property protection is what they're talking about. And they go on to say that the agreement is part of a series of digital initiatives by the UK government. These include the UK-Ukraine Tech Bridge, promoting collaboration and investment across both nations' tech sectors. And they have a quote here from Jonathan Reynolds, who's the Secretary of State for Business and Trade, saying, "Greater digitalization of the economy is an important step in supporting Ukraine's economy and their fight for independence. This government regime, perhaps a better word, will continue to lead the way in our unwavering support for Ukraine and its people. Well, just to give you an impression of what this means, if we think about what Brian was presenting on Monday with the UK Defence Journal coverage of how much money has been pumped into Ukraine by the British government so far, the value of the value of exports of digitally delivered services to Ukraine is £151 million. So that's value for money. We pump billions and billions and billions of pounds that could be better spent in this country. We pump that into the war in Ukraine. We see the deaths and destruction as a result, and the return on that is £151 million in digital services. Good job, British government / regime. And then finally, on sort of defence and war, I just wanted to leave on a little bit of humour because, well, the HMS Queen Elizabeth has sailed again, having had its refit for the propeller prop shaft issues that it was suffering. It is now heading back to sea for a busy period of equipment trials and training. So, Charles, my question for you is, how long will it be before it has to be towed back into port, do you think?
Well, I wouldn't like to make a guess for choosing too large a number, but perhaps we should have a sweepstake for the UK column audience.
Yeah, okay, in the chat box, please. We'll talk about it a bit more in extra. Okay, yeah. Let's leave that topic there for today. And let's say if you like what the UK column does and you would like to support us, the place to go is support.ukcolumn.org. Memberships are £5 a month. Please do join us if you possibly can. You'll get access to the forums and to the extra content that we produce for members. And that support is very much needed. But please do also share material that you find on the various platforms. The place to go to find it in the first place is ukcolumn.org and ukcolumnextracts.co.uk. We are censored everywhere just about, so we do need you to be the algorithm for us. Please do that if you can. And also, if you can support us by picking something up at the UK Column shop, that is fantastic as well. And we want to say once again, if you haven't got a copy or send a copy to a friend of Agenda 21, Your Life in Their Hands, please do that. Now, yesterday I was speaking to David Siegel and we were launching, or at least announcing the launching of a second climate science masterclass. Now, I'm going to say the feedback on that has been mixed because quite a lot of people found some of the content quite challenging, and indeed it is. But nonetheless, I'm just going to say for the first climate science masterclass, all the people, including myself, that took part in it, got a lot from it. So in this particular interview, we're talking about global warming, or sorry, about the term is completely
climate change.
No, don't
No?
worry. Well,
Right.
yes, we are talking about climate change.
Okay.
But anyway, watch it. It is challenging and worth a bit of thought. And the 11th of September is the beginning of the next climate science masterclass. So the details are in that video. Now, tomorrow, 1 p.m.
Yeah, going out tomorrow, an interview I've recorded with Claire Wills Harrison, a lawyer by trade, and a fascinating insight into how she's seen the legal system effectively collapse around her with corruption at every turn. Now, Claire significantly is going to be at the live event in October, and I would very much encourage you to listen to her interview specifically because she talks about tax resistance as well as a lot of challenges that she came across during the sort of COVID period, particularly around informed consent. And then we go to Bristol on the 19th of October. So if you haven't got your ticket yet, then please do take a look at that. They are selling well. Also on timings, we've had a few inquiries as to what time the day would finish. We've got doors open at 9:15. We have the venue until 8 o'clock in the evening. So I think it would be prudent to book travel for after 8 o'clock in the evening.
On Sunday, we'll be hosting a symposium on behalf of International Centre for 9/11 Justice, entitled "Aviation Impossibilities: Deconstructing the Official Story of the 9/11 Hijackings and Air Defence Failures." This, of course, is for the anniversary of 9/11 itself. Join us for that. It begins at 6 p.m. It'll be in the usual live stream places, and we'll be hosting that on their behalf.
And then coming up this weekend, Friday and Saturday, the Attack on Food and Farmers Symposium, hosted by Children's Health Defence at chd.tv. A lot of very knowledgeable and good speakers. You can see actually in the lower rank, Joel Salatin, who was on a UK column interview just a couple of weeks ago. So if you're wanting to look at a way of controlling your own food supply, then I would encourage you to tune into that.
And on Saturday, the 20th of September, Brian and I will be speaking at the Heritage Party conference. That is in Reading, and details on the heritageparty.org website.
And then finally, the Died Suddenly exhibition, which is going to be shown in London in November, being organised by Jake Fern to explore the unexplained deaths, the excess deaths that have been happening over the past few years. So if you want to get in touch with Jake about that, please do so at jakehfern@yahoo.co.uk. Now,